Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man on the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my series, my mini-series, in which I am doing a dive into a very particular and unique deck called The Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler. And if you were here yesterday, you can probably tell that I've got a little bit more of my cognitive function back today, which is interesting because of the card that I selected that appeared for me today. But before I get into that, let me tell you what I'm doing with this series if you are new here. Every day I draw a card from the Tarot of the Holy Light. And it's a unique deck, particularly because it's not based on the Golden Dawn system, which is the system that I'm most used to. The Golden Dawn system is the one that brought us decks such as the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Coleman-Smith deck, or the Harris-Crowley, the Thoth deck. And those are things that I'm very familiar with over decades. And so when I pull a card, I want to detangle. I want to try to, well, first acknowledge the thoughts and the ideas I have about that card from those other systems. And I want to try to detangle those ideas and preconceptions from what I am seeing in the card. I want to try to confront the card as it appears and as it was intended by the creator, which is a deck based on the Continental Tarot tradition. So I do that. I look at it and I acknowledge the thoughts that I have, and I try to see what I see in the card and try to detangle those. And then to help me, I pull 3 cards from the Light Seers Tarot, a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck. The first card is the significance of the card I drew from the Tarot of the Holy Light. The second card is the obstacle. The third is the advice, significance, obstacle, advice, typical 3-card spread. And so I live my day for the rest of the day, and at the end of the day, I pull out my handy-dandy guidebook for the Tarot of the Holy Light, and I look at the meaning of the card as intended by the creator, and I see how that might have revealed itself for me during the day, or not. And so today's card, maybe you already noticed it in the thumbnail for this video, was the Ace of Swords. And this is a gorgeous card in a very gorgeous deck. A beautiful card. And what do we see? We see the ace, typical, a sword pointing up through something. This isn't exactly through, but behind something. We see the clouds, and we see that the clouds have separation. We can see through the clouds, which is pretty common in various iterations. But we also notice that we've got this bird here, a 2-headed bird, making me think of dichotomies, split minds. Ideas of the 2 of Swords from the Rider-Waite-Smith kind of leapt to mind when I saw this briefly. We also see the 7, indications of the 7 planets. We've got the sun, we got the moon, and the other planets here are indicated, but it's not really clear for me which planet is which burst of light. So that's what I see. And when I see this card in the Rider-Waite-Smith system, I think of new ideas, new ways of communicating. This is Libra ruled by Mercury, so we've got a lot of that. It's an airy card, and Mercury has that dynamic, androgynous feel to it. In a balanced sense with Libra, right? So I thought of that, and so I pulled my 3 cards for the day. And let me show you those 3 cards right now. The 3 cards I pulled to help me unpack the Ace of Swords in the Tarot of the Holy Light were, as you saw, the King of Pentacles, which was an interesting choice, or was an interesting revelation, I should say. The Strength card in opposition, or as the obstacle. And then, for the second day in a row, the Ace of Wands for the advice. Keep that passion in mind. Keep that seed of passion and creativity in mind, the third eye, and nurture it, right? So So what did I think when I saw this? So we've got these ideas of aces of swords, the all of that air, the beginnings of air, connected with the ultimate personage of the disc suit. Yeah, now not the ultimate, the last, but the most powerful perhaps of the disc suit, the King of Pentacles. And that's king could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a non-gendered or transgendered or cisgendered, it could be anybody. Yeah. But the king is the one who is the most able to not only manage but to project forward the energy, the power of their suit, and this is the power of matter, power of material, and also of health. So this thought is in the realm of material, perhaps work, perhaps health, perhaps money, perhaps resources of some kind. So I have the potential for managing my resources well, and for appreciating them, and for leading with them. The obstacle, the opposition, which is going to be very interesting when we get into this later, is the Strength card, which for me, the Strength card is the dichotomy of mind. It could be conscious and unconscious. It could be spirit and id, perhaps. It could be left and right brain. It's those dichotomies, those binary aspects of self, and not necessarily integration here, but collaboration of the two. So the Strength card here is being an obstacle, I think, was telling me that there's a potential for lack of collaboration, for disjointedness in thinking and in processing and in experiencing and in all of those aspects of mind, body, left-right brain, details and holistic, now all of those things. Id and superego. And so the advice again is keep that seed, that passion of creativity, and keep nurturing that. And for me, I think now, particularly now, that seed is where this channel, where this usage of tarot and systems in tarot is going to be leading. I think that's what this Ace of Wands is leading me to. Now, it was interesting because when I was shuffling the Tarot of the Holy Light today, yesterday I got the Ten of Pentacles, and when I talked about the Ten of Pentacles, I was saying how it was the ultimate manifestation of matter. Yeah, we got spirit, and spirit goes through all of the tree of life and all of its steps, and then the most concrete manifestation of spirit into matter is the Ten of Discs, the Ten of Pentacles. So this is the ultimate. So from here, the only way to go is towards spirit. Now, when we think of the tree of life, we think of Malkut, 10 Malkut of earth being perhaps the ultimate one. And then we go up levels to perhaps the ace of what we think of as the top level of the cascading tree of trees of life through the 4 elements. And the way people define those things, it depends on the person. Some people put fire at the top. For example, me. Because I first thought about the trees of life, and I deliberately, trees of life. I learned about those and thought about those through the Thoth, the Harris Crowley deck and the Thoth system. And Thoth puts the fire at the top, and then its partner, its mate, water. And those two combine to create air. And then all 3 of those combine to create earth. And that's what really makes sense for me, because when I think of creation from spirit, I think of the big bang is that energy being fire. And then fire's partner is water. I mean, that makes sense. And then those two combine. Fire burns water, creates air. For me, that's how I've arranged this in my mind. And then all those 3 come together and bring it into earth. We get the hardest matter. Other people put air up at the top because it's the mind of God. Yeah? But when I was shuffling, I said I was going to say something funny. Now it's probably not funny anymore. But when I was shuffling the cards this morning, I was thinking, so I had the very base, the very ultimate card. So wouldn't it be funny if there was an ace coming that would come up today? And wouldn't it be funny if it were an ace today and I got the Ace of Swords, which for some people, not necessarily me all the time, but I may change my mind. I may waffle back and forth. Some people would put this at the very, very top. And I was thinking, that's interesting. That's an interesting dichotomy. And so I lived my day. And before we get into the day, let me get into the book, because just before I started this video, I read the entry in the book and I contemplated it a little bit more. So let me read what we get in this book. And I noticed right off the bat, I should say, I've read the book, so I should have known this already, but it slipped my mind that in the book also you hear swords comes first. I was thinking, oh, so swords come first in this book, so I'll betcha we're thinking swords is the first tree of life. So let me read. I mean, that's what I was thinking as I was finding my place. So let me see. Okay, so symbolically, this represents your prime motive or guiding ideal, that vision which carries you through outer vicissitudes of life with single-minded clarity. This is God's definition of you, which becomes your personal commandment and reason for being. So this is much more significant than that new idea, the new way of communicating. This is the essence of self. The essence of self, the idea of self, the symbol of self even perhaps. Yeah? Here right below, the primal commandment of this card, know thyself. So the beginning of self-knowledge, perhaps. The sword always refers to one's own discriminating mind. In this case, the mind awakens to the eternal conversation between the 7 planetary governors, including the sun and the moon. So these are all in conversation with that primal self, if that makes sense. And then we have the creature here creating a kind of Ouroboros, that infinity idea. And right below that it says coincidentia oppositorum. Oppositorum. Yeah, coincidentia oppositorum. That's the bird. That's the bird. The bird has the 2 heads, yeah? It's an androgynous image, according to the creator and the drawer of this deck. The coincidentia oppositorum of the body and its astral double is one way to see this. So, body, astral double. And remember, I was thinking about that. Yeah, I was thinking about that with the strength card. Those 2 aspects, the opposition, the problem today could have been those 2 aspects not getting along, not merging into one, not merging into one, but not getting along, being, not being coincidental, not being in alignment, you might say. I mean, in today's jargon. Body and soul, past and future, the 2 sides of the brain along with outer opposites come together at the central tip of this sword. So we've got that idea of those aspects coming together, and again, the potential today for it not coming together. So the ideal for today is this, but this in its reversed aspect is a potential obstacle. That was real. When I started reading this book, I thought, this all makes sense now. This all makes absolute sense. So let me read a little bit more. The Ace of Swords moment happens when both sides of the brain are awake equally. Listen. Contemplating life from its ambidextrous center, we are more likely to see this and that, pros and cons. This more inclusive view grants us a wider spectrum of options, most of which are not visible when operating from the assumptions of mutually exclusive black-white polarities. So instead of it being this one idea, it's a clarity of possibilities, is also potential of this card. A sword represents now, and still there is the idea of this other thing, right? A sword represents a single unitary idea, one grain of thought. This is also a possibility, so to speak. When contemplating a complex circumstance or endeavor, sort for the idea that perfectly expresses your inner sense of things. When the mind contacts the right idea, that single S word, sword, S word, and word together, sword, that single word, that single sword, serves as a key to open the imagination. Ideas begin to fly, and whole scenarios reveal themselves effortlessly in the blink of an eye. In this sense, the Ace of Swords is a catalyst, a scalpel of destruction and renewal from which creativity springs. Now that's as far as I'm going to go in the book, because that is what I've been hoping for. So let me tell you about my day. Now, there wasn't much doing happening today because, frankly, I had jet lag. I have jet lag, and you noticed, you probably saw very clearly last video, the effects of jet lag on me. And so I slept a bit, but I was interrupted from my sleep by a dog that lives in the apartment with me. And that dog yesterday had been very, very angry that I came back. Not because he was angry that I was there, but angry that I had been gone, of course. But then after a minute, then everything changed, and the dog didn't want to leave me alone. Didn't want me to leave it alone. And so as I was trying to sleep last night, the dog came and woke me up many, many, many times. And then I was really tired. I had an okay morning, but in the afternoon I became very, very tired, and I thought, yeah, this is jet lag. But I realized at that moment it's actually double jet lag. Yeah, I'd gone from one place to another just a few days ago, a very, very long distance from Iceland to California. That's a big gap of time. I mean, a big leap of time. And then 2 days later, before I even got completely used to this time zone, I made another leap from California to South Korea. So I've got like double jet lag going on here. Big, big difference. So, so I got wiped out in the late afternoon, early evening, and then I had dinner, and I washed dishes, and I looked at I do kefir at home, but I couldn't do it while I was away, so I put it in the freezer. I put that in the freezer, and I put my sourdough starter in the freezer. I had pulled them out last night, and then this evening I inspected them, and it looks like my kefir has come back to life. I fed it this morning a little bit, so it looks like I'm going to have kefir production going again. It also looks like my starter may have come back to life as well from being in the freezer. So those things are wonderful things. Maybe the managing of material stuff aspect. But then, whenever I get the Ace of Swords, even in Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I keep thinking, so where's the idea? Where's the idea? I keep waiting for that wonderful idea. Where's the idea? And so I meditated, and after I meditated this evening, I started thinking about my channel. I was thinking, the idea I want is about where to go with the channel. What do I want to do? Do I want to continue exactly as I have before, or do I want to change things when I go back to work and I move back into doing the videos I am used to doing, or do I want to do something different? And I thought about that, and I thought of possibilities, and I thought, no, I want to continue using an oracle deck and 2 different decks from one system in conversation. I enjoy that. I enjoy having 2 decks in conversation, in also conversation with an oracle deck, with a card or a few cards from an oracle deck. I like that interaction and that play. I want to continue focusing on living life intentionally. I want to keep thinking about that and talking about that. I also want to dive into other systems. I want to keep doing my Tarot de Marseille my side series. So I'm not really sure what to do. I'm not really sure how to do that. I'm thinking that maybe I will keep those things, but maybe the way I use cards around those two main readings will change. Maybe, I don't know. Though there aren't clear possibilities right now floating around me, but I see that there are possibilities. I think that's where I am now, and maybe that's enough for now. Seeing the possibilities and keeping that focus, that flame, because I see this as the top. This deck sees this as the top, and these both being here together gives me that top from different perspectives, which could be these two heads here. Now the air top and the fire top together in conversation as co-creators, perhaps. The new idea, the new passion, the new creativity could combine to become something glorious, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. I'd love to hear from you. I mean, because swords are also communication, right? It's not only my thinking, or my words, it's communication. What do you think? How would you like to see this channel grow or go? Have you seen my previous series of weekly readings about living life intentionally, where I use an oracle section and then I answer questions about that oracle section with other questions? Well, let me say that in English. So I have a set of oracle cards in the center, and then after reading those, I ask 4 questions about those cards, and those 4 questions are answered by 2 cards from 1 card from 2 different tarot decks. So I've got this whole essay laid out in a spread, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think I'd like to continue doing that. But what do you think? And I like drawing a question out of that and answering that one question with 3 cards from the Tarot de Marseille. I'd like to continue doing that for a while. But I might want to also leap to another system. I might want to leap into perhaps, I don't know, an Atea. Or I might want to leap into my Thoth, revive my Thoth studies for a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I would also like to hear what you think. So friends, let me know in the comments below. So let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think about this reading? Does that make sense? What do you think about how you would like to see this channel go in the future? I'd like to hear from you in the comments below. Now, hit the thumbs up button if you're still here, so YouTube knows that you liked it and other people might like it. It'll draw more people to the channel. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you know when I upload videos. I try to do about 1 a day now, but then when I get back into work a little bit before September, I'll be reducing to probably 2 a week, probably. So hit the alarm bell, comment below, let me know what you think. And if you want a private reading from me, my email address is going to be below. Send me an email, say, I want a reading, and we'll work it out. So friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.